Hello, everyone. My name's Natalie.
And I'm Eli.
And so for our project, we went to the Common Ground Spring Market where a bunch of vendors and a staff thrift store were happening. And it was just a really awesome time.
Yes, and so for our project, we made a sign that said, "Change my mind. Caffeine is just a band-aid for bad sleep habits. Good coffee is no, good sleep is better than good coffee." And so we went and we were at the spring market and we had this sign and we kind of set up and just interacted with people and started conversations about good sleep habits and why good sleep is better than coffee and caffeine. We also made like a little pamphlet that said just different benefits of getting sleep, like how it's good for emotional wellness, physical wellness, some misconceptions about sleep, and ways to get better sleep. Yeah, and we just interacted with a lot of people and had a lot of different conversations.
Yes, awesome. So there were a ton of people at the market, which was super exciting. And it was just really awesome so interacting with a lot of the vendors was super cool because so often at Baylor, we're just interacting with other college students, which is fun, but it was cool to like meet a new community of people, especially like business people. It was just really fun and they were really interested in it because a lot of them had like it's just not something that a lot of them have conceptualized before. And additionally we also talked to a lot of college students on top of that, which was also just fun to add to the mix. Yeah, so some people just kind of like took a pamphlet, was like, oh, this is kind of cool, and like just walked away. But we also had some really good conversations, which was really exciting to see just like how eager people were and willing to learn about sleep, which was really cool. The questions that they asked were really powerful, but it was cool to be able to be on the other side of it, not just taking in the information, but like sharing it with other people, which was super, super exciting. And was definitely just awesome when people felt passionately about it. So, yeah. Yeah, so we learned a lot through this experiment. Obviously, it was crazy of us to make that kind of sign at a coffee shop. Very an interesting approach, but it brought people in. They were like, "Whoa, that's kind of you're also." I was also drinking coffee with that sign, which was crazy. But yes, so typically this population, obviously, they're at a coffee shop. They love coffee, and you know, like Eli wrote on the sign, it's a band-aid for bad sleep. So these people are like, they love the idea of it, but they were like, oh, this yeah, like sleep's cool, but maybe not that much for me. Like, I'm just a very busy person. I have all these things to do. I can't really fit it into my schedule. It wasn't like seen as a necessary condition, but rather just like something that they couldn't really fit in, which is interesting. So there are a couple things that we would have done differently for next time if we were to do this again. And one thing is, I think something more interactive would have been a lot more helpful. Obviously, the sign, the pamphlet, they were good things, but if we had some sort of like mutual activity, I think that could be a little bit more engaging and would have led to even greater conversations, possibly with more depth. Yeah.
Yeah, and so then finally some best moments. Some of my favorite moments were we got to talk to a lot of vendors, like Natalie said, and a lot of the kind of older people just passing through common grounds. But what really struck me was like, yeah, we're talking to them, and we're not supposed to be reaching college students, but we still got to talk to a lot of college students as well, which was really cool. And feeling like we made some sort of difference in how they're going to sleep, even though we realistically probably did it. But then a couple other ones that stuck out to me were the lady right next to us had a baby, and so when looking at sleep, she was kind of like asking questions of, well, how does my child sleep, and how's that different than how I sleep, and just asking questions like that, and really wanting to dive deep and learn, was really cool. And then there were also a lot of dogs, and people were curious about how their dog slept rather than how we as people sleep, and so the first time people asked, I we were kind of unsure, um, and so we quickly got on and we read some stuff and brushed up, and were able then to take that information and explain it to the next person who asked, which was a surprising amount of people. But overall, pretty fun. Felt like a podcaster, but that was our sleep project.